It's your 716 Uncle P from the world famous podcast, Men of a Certain Age. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Peace and welcome into the latest episode of Men of a Certain Age. The Soup. As always, I'm Les. I got my man Don L with me and my man Panero. Peace, fellas. What's good on this Mother's Day? First, before I let y'all get in and say what you got to say, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the Earths out there, man, and especially mine, man. Happy Mother's Day. Peace to you, UH, man. How you?
Damn good, man. Damn good. Peace to everybody out there in Men of a Certain Age. I'm looking forward to a great Sunday conversation. Shouts out to the moms today. All kinds of moms. Mamas, babies, mamas. It's all good, man. So shouts out to the queens out there, the Earths, the foundation of all of us. Enjoy your day, ladies.
Panero, what's up with you, Lord?
Happy Mother's Day to my mommy, Ana Maria Sanchez. A rest in peace shout out to my grandma, Ola James. Shout out to day parties for Men of a Certain Age, too, man. We like getting it in during the day so we can recover. You know what I'm saying? A little 5 o'clock to about 9, then we good. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the ITs and everybody that's a mom. Shout out to y'all today. Have a great Mother's Day.
No doubt about it. That's love. So, yeah, we got another sizzling episode here today, man. We got a lot of things that we want to talk about, and we're going to jump around, man. The House of Pain style. We're going to jump around and do a lot of different things here on this particular episode. What I want to do is this, man, and then when we're going to shut it down and leave it over there for once and for all, man, we're going to go ahead and one last time, we're going to have a visitation from Kendrick Lamar and Drake. From what I'm saying, the streets is saying it's over. A lot of people are, Top Dog came out and said it's over. Kendrick declared Kendrick the winner. I saw a tweet from Drake today stating that he on the good vibes and summer vibrations. So he's putting it to rest. And we're going to say one last thing, a couple last things on this, and then we're going to put it to bed here on the Soup as well, man. So, Don, have you gone and re-listened to any of those tracks that we talked about last week?
Absolutely not. I have not re-listened to anything. And I think part of the reason behind it is what you were harping on last week is the fact that none of them were really classics. You know what I mean? It's not something that you want to listen to over and over. I think it was good for hip hop this year because this was the first year that we weren't top of the charts in the past 20 years. And obviously with the Drake and Kendrick beef, it brought us back to the top of the genres, of all the genres again. So it's good to see that, man. It's good to see these boys had a chance to get some lyrical jabs at each other. And I think it got a little bit too personal at one point or another. And I think maybe they realized it as well and just shut it down. And like I said, hip hop is a contact sport. So I was glad to see that.
No doubt about it, Lord. I did say last week on the app and posed the question to you guys, was there any classics? Is there any kind of classic song or a classic movement coming out of it? Have you gone back and actually heard or re-listened to any of those songs?
Like Don, I'm a man of a certain age. I can't keep up with all of this, man. But the thing about it is, it did give us, there's good songs, there's MCs, and there's rappers. I think Drake is good when it comes to making good songs and melodies for people to follow. And he has ghostwriters and the music comes off good. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just, it's good music. But Kendrick he's an MC. And sometimes you can't poke the bear to an extent. You know what I mean? You poke this guy enough, he just gonna destroy you. In my opinion, Kendrick won strategically. But Drake did have great songs. You know what I'm saying? So it's a win, man, to me. You know what I'm saying? It's all hip hop. Keep it out of the streets. You know what I'm saying? So let it be. Let's tie a bow on it. It's a wrap.
So let me just interject here. So since I asked that question, the Kendrick Lamar song, He's Not Like Us, has actually took on that phenomenon to be a sort of an anthem. And it's funny that they made it like a East Coast, West Coast thing. And I'm like, yo, we love T.O. I'm aging myself here when I'm saying Toronto, calling it T.O. We don't call it T-Dot or whatever the youth.
The six.
We the six.
T.O., baby.
We call it T.O. Toronto, Ontario. So salute to Toronto to try to describe it as an East Coast, West Coast thing. I'm not vibing with that at all. If you look at it, man, it seems manufactured and watered down, even though it did get personal and people taking personal shots and different things, man. We listen to what the streets is saying. We look around and we use our own minds to make our own deductions and say, you know what, man, filter out the bullshit from the real. I'm no big conspiracy theorist or anything of that nature, but I do listen to what people have to say again and filter out the bullshit from the real shit. So with that being said, that's saying that there's some really shadiness being played with this little battle. So what I want to do, man, is I want to cut to this clip real quick, play this for y'all, and we're going to come back on, we're going to build on that.
Jewish music mogul and CEO of Universal Studios, Lucien Grange, is being investigated on charges of allegedly aiding, abetting, and inducing P. Diddy to run a pedophile ex-trafficking ring and is 100% liable for the crimes.
And get this, rumor has it that Lucien gave Drake the signal to cool it on the beef once Kendrick dropped the trafficking bomb. That might explain why Drake's latest track, The Heart Part 6, is getting roasted left and right. It's like he's intentionally serving up a mid-track to put an end to the drama. But here's where it gets dark. According to Cat Williams, if Kendrick goes rogue and starts speaking out against Universal, it could spell disaster. Cat's been dropping hints in interviews suggesting that artists who go against the big labels meet unfortunate ends. And Cat's not stopping there. He's also claiming that whenever there's a rapper gunned down, someone up top is cashing in on their death. By the way, remember Michael Jackson and Prince? Both passed away after clashing with their labels. Michael even had his suspicions about Sony trying to snatch his catalog before he died.
I own half of Sony's publishing and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it, but I just did good business.
So what's the real deal with this Kendrick Lamar and Drake's beef? Is Cat Williams now dropping hints that Lucien Grange and Universal are pulling the strings behind the scenes?
So they killed this $20 million.
While everyone's busy arguing over who came out on top in the Kendrick versus Drake feud, Cat Williams swoops in with a reality check. He's here to remind us that the real winners aren't the rappers themselves, but the big shots behind the scenes. Specifically, Universal Music CEO Lucien Grange might be the one raking in the benefits. Kanye West even stirred the pot by calling Lucien Drake's baby daddy or sugar daddy. But the truth is, Lucien's got a sweet deal with all these artists. While the fans are busy picking sides, it's really the bigwigs like Lucien who are laughing all the way to the bank. Just look at the facts. Universal Music owns pretty much all your favorite rappers. Kendrick signed a major deal with Universal back in October 2020, and even Kanye was under their umbrella until recently when he got dropped by both Universal Music's Def Jam Recordings and Sony Music Publishing after they accused him of anti-Semitism. And then there's Drake, rumored to be Lucien's favorite. Word on the street is that Drake gets some extra perks and protection compared to his peers because of his cultural background.
Let's talk about you being Jewish real quick.
Let's do that.
Because a lot of people think that Asher's Jewish. He's not. His dad's Jewish. He doesn't really identify. All loves to Jews, but he's not Jewish.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand,
but he wasn't there. He didn't read his portion, first of all.
You didn't have a bar mitzvah.
Come on. Are you serious?
So Drake's got this super secret contract with Universal, and in 2021, he reportedly scored this mega deal with Universal Music Group worth a mind-boggling $400 to $500 million, an unprecedented figure in the industry. Now, here's where it gets juicy. With Drake being such a big shot, it's totally plausible that this deal wasn't just about money. There's talk that it could have included some equity too, meaning Drake might have gained ownership over other artists' catalogs who are under the same corporate umbrella. And get this, there are whispers floating around that Drake might have been trying to anonymously acquire Kendrick's rights, which could be the real reason behind their beef. But wait, there's more drama. Kendrick recently dropped this diss track where he accused Drake and his whole OVO crew of some shady stuff, calling them S-traffickers and PDF files. Before that, Kanye spilled the tea in an interview, mentioning Lucien Grange and calling him Drake's rich baby daddy. And let's not forget that Lucien was named in Lil Rod's lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of funding Diddy's alleged trafficking operation.
Jewish music mogul and CEO of Universal Studios, Lucien Grange, is being investigated on charges of...
So again, I don't want to play the Mr. Conspiracy. Interesting, no?
Yeah, I said it a few weeks ago. I think when we first started talking about it, I think I said that they were both on the same level on the pod. We did the first or the second discussion that we had about this, is that they're both on the same label. So they consider it's good for hip hop to get hip hop back into the forefront of being the number one genre. But like D always says, just follow the money. It goes back to the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Universal is wild, man.
Universal was universal. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But the thing about it is that we have to understand that Kendrick making an issue of Drake's blackness was something that really hit home for a lot of people. And I think that's when Drake basically tapped out, was like, you know what? He's calling me a culture vulture, making me appear to be something that I don't want to be perceived as. Whether he's that or not, he didn't want to be perceived as that. You know what I mean? So I think that's when he tapped out, when he realized that, because no matter what, Kendrick is black, you know what I mean? And Drake is mixed and he's Canadian. So he really doesn't have the ilk or the je ne sais quoi that we have, you know what I mean? Or the swagger, whatever you want to call it, that we have as African Americans. So we talk about this all the time, people infiltrating our culture and mimicking our culture and benefiting financially from our culture, but really aren't from the culture. And I'm sure we're going to discuss that a little bit later as well, too. Yeah, man. I'm glad
that was a perfect lead in, UH. Yeah. I love you. I love you for that. Speaking of those culture vultures, DJ Vlad made his way into the news this past week due to this particular topic we're talking about right now, which is the Drake and the Kendrick beef. DJ Vlad felt as though that he could interject himself into the culture and have his say on the whole thing, critiquing. And one of a professor from Princeton told Vlad that he needs to fall back on this. This is a cultural type of thing. And so Vlad, being the Jewish guy that he is and using his white privilege that he has, he decided that he was going to argue with this professor who happens to be Rodney Jenkins, Darkchild's niece.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. That's
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's his niece. She get it out the mud with this whole situation, right? Not only is she a professor at Princeton. So there's that. So as she's correcting Vlad and telling him that he needs to fall back on the whole situation, he's offended. Oh, you've offended my whiteness. What do you mean that I can't give you my opinion on what I think?
Colonize the conversation?
Right. I can't colonize the conversation. So he took it upon himself to start tagging her place of business, man. So take a look at this, what old DJ Vlad was up to. So this is the professor right here. Morgan Jenkins, as I said, her last name is Jenkins. She is the niece of Darkchild, who's done beats from everybody from Outkast to Michael Jackson himself. And the list goes on. So Vlad uses his privilege and starts tagging her place of business. So what's your thoughts on what your opinion is of Mr. DJ Vlad here?
Vlad is complex, right? Because of the fact that from the beginning of hip hop, we've always had white boys that was down with the movement. Beastie Boys, the first group I can think of, them boys was cold, but they actually were part of the culture. The thing about License to Ill is that, unfortunately, that was the record that, along with Run DMC, but those were the records that really brought hip hop to the forefront from a album perspective to the majority of America, right?
To the masses, yeah.
Yeah, to the masses. Rick Rubin was part of Def Jam. He helped get it started. Obviously, Lenore Cohen. So there's always been the influence of Jews intertwined. Ad Rock was Jewish. Maybe another one was Jewish too. But there's always been Jews involved in the hip hop industry. The thing about Vlad is that because of the fact that he's been doing it for so long, that he feels that he's got a room in the house, right? He feels that he can just come and go in the house as he pleases, and that his opinion matters as much as anyone else's because he's contributed to hip hop. I would more think of Vlad as somebody who lives in the in-law suite in the back, or maybe the greeter at the door.
A carpetbagger.
Yeah, he's managed to gather 5 million YouTube subscribers, which is awesome, right? But I mean, his interviews are dope. But if you look at the people who really have a strong black mind frame, Reza Islam, Lord Jamal, Godfrey. These are people who were featured for some time, and now they're not guests anymore because of the fact that they looked at and realized, or from their point of view, they saw that Vlad really's true intent wasn't to help Black people, but it was to capitalize a Black person's art. So that's what I think of Vlad, that he's a capitalist, but he does have relevance because of the fact that he's brought an in-depth and a historical, because he's recording history, point of view to hip hop. So that has to be respected.
As I said, he's a fucking carpetbagger. Is what the fuck he is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
DJ Vlad, Lord.
Vlad is he was a DJ. You know what I'm saying? He feels like he's a part of hip hop. So he doesn't feel like he should have to be invited. He feels like he's already in the party. But again, you are invited to this. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's a lot like the Beastie Boys made hip hop global, and there's a lot of Jewish influence. Hip hop was started in the Bronx. We started this. You know what I'm saying? So you're still invited to this, and you shouldn't take advantage of your invite. He may be, like you said, maybe he Fonzie in the back of the Cunninghams, or I don't know.
Living over the garage and shit.
He living over the garage stuff. You know? But I think what he did is he stepped. He's over the line. He's habitual. Shout out to rest in peace Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, habitual line stepper.
Line stepper. You know what I'm saying? You're a habitual line stepper. Now, what she said was, this really doesn't have anything to do with you, because when it came to the battle between Kendrick and Drake, Kendrick was bringing out points of Drake not being really of the culture. You know what I'm saying? And he was saying how he goes to Atlanta and he hooks up with this person and that person, and you're really you're colonizing. You know what I mean? You don't have a base. You don't have a home. You don't have a base sound. And Kendrick has that with the West Coast, especially with that last They Not Like Us. That's just straight a crip walking joint. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, this ain't got nothing to do with you right now. And him being offended by that shows that his privilege shine. Wait a minute, I can't be in this. I'm DJ Vlad. You know what I'm saying? I had Lord Jamal on my show. And when he does have Lord Jamal on the show, man, Lord Jamal checks him every time he steps out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? So
the thing was, go ahead, Lord. My bad.
It's good and it's bad. It's bad when he oversteps, but it's good when somebody check him.
And the reason why he had to go with the tagging of her place of business is because there was no comeback for him. So there was one card that he could pull. And what was that card?
The race card.
Yeah. Trying to get her
race card. It's a job piece.
He slammed it down on like the spades tournaments. So let me just play this little clip of Karen Hunter. You know what I mean? She talked a little bit about that. Let's get under that one time.
That line will forever, and I'm going to be using it in many different ways to different people. So I cannot wait to use that line on somebody. You're not a colleague. Don't invite me on MSNBC because I will be using that. 866-801-82. You're not a colleague. You're a colonizer. I cannot wait, by the way. So I want to thank Kendrick for giving us some lines that I think will be used forever. But in that, now we open the door for other people to come in and have commentary, like a DJ Vlad, who found his whole life this weekend because he decided he was going to comment on this. And Morgan Jerkins, yes, Morgan Jerkins, she's been on the show. She's a brilliant author, writer, which is redundant. She is a professor at Princeton, went to Princeton. She's a graduate of Princeton, same school as Michelle Obama, by the way. Brilliant young lady. Also happens to be the niece to Darkchild, Rodney Jerkins, right? That is Morgan Jerkins. Funny. She basically told DJ Vlad, because he was like, I don't know about this Kendrick. And literally in the title is Not Like Us. Who's us? Like, that should be your clue. It ain't you.
Stay out of it, bro.
You can't have an opinion to your damn self. And that's basically what she was saying. You have your opinions, but you out here in public like you some authority. You don't even know what he's talking about. 90% of this stuff is inside ball. Okay, it is cookout conversations. You don't even know, which is the point about Drake. He ain't part of this. You're not like us. So for a whole ass white man to be on there, and then when she checks him, he says, "Oh, Princeton. I wonder if they would appreciate, I'm not even going to read the thing, but basically he said, I'm sure Princeton needs to know that one of their professors is telling a white person that they can't comment on something, and turned into a whole Amy, Jenny, mother freaker, and found out some things this weekend. He found out some things, and I appreciate that. I've interviewed Vlad, and I've always felt that he was a culture vulture. This hiding behind a microphone, never showing your face, and setting black folk up to look crazy and sometimes even get arrested. You have used your platform and built a platform off of black trauma.
Yeah.
And that's millions of dollars, because I brought him on because I wanted to understand the business model. Sometimes I bring people on so I can understand some things, right? And I'm like sitting here, this 2024 has brought us so much, and some more things are happening. November's around the corner. I feel like this is gonna be the year everybody gonna be like, Lord, our ancestors are gonna be glad they're not here. I just feel like
Cat Williams called it. Cat called it.
Listen, oh my God. But Morgan Jerkins, shout out to you for standing in the gap. But that man tried to threaten your career because you checked him on something that you should have checked him on. Yeah. He should be not, yes, it's a free country. You can say whatever you want, but you have to be wise enough to know when it ain't none of your business. This was not your business to jump in and have some critique of Kendrick's lyrical nothing. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I appreciate it.
So yeah, man, that's Karen Hunter, man. She always is gonna hold people's feet to the fire. And as y'all see, she definitely gonna come at you with both barrels. So as we continue on, man, I know y'all saw this week, or y'all heard about the airman who got shot and killed in his apartment in Carolina, man.
Yeah, he's from Atlanta.
That is shit is crazy, man. Let's take a look at that and see what's said about that real quick.
Family attorney Ben Crump says the officers were at the wrong address and did not identify himself when knocking on the door. Fortson, reportedly on the phone, retrieved his gun when he did not see anyone outside, but the knocking continued. Crump and Roger's family viewed the body cam footage today. Ben Crump joins us right now. Ben, so what the heck happened here? What were they even executing? It was a disturbance?
Roland, it's unbelievable. This young man was a model United States member of the armed forces. He has no criminal history in his background. He was on the phone with his girlfriend on FaceTime the whole time leading up to this. The family is adamant. Everything that we know about this case tells us they went to the wrong apartment. And when you see once that door opened, he told him to step back. Roger was very, very respectful of law enforcement. He stepped back in a split second, Roland. In a split second. He shot him 6 times. And what is being left out of this case is they keep saying, well, he had a gun when he came to the door. Well, the reality is, said they didn't hear the police identify themselves. He said who it is, and nobody identified themselves based on what the girlfriend said, and she's going to do her own press conference, so it's not lost in any translation. But when he saw a black man with a gun, even though he was a law-abiding citizen with a registered license to carry a weapon, Second Amendment rights, that police lit him up. And right after he shot him, he then said while he was on the ground, toss the gun. He didn't give any verbal commands to drop the gun and put your hands in the air when he came open that door. And that's what's troubling, Roland. They continue to try to justify the unjustified killings, even our best young people.
So once again, we have an African-American, whether it be a woman, Breonna Taylor, now this young man getting killed in his own home for opening up the door of his house. G?
First of all, the police didn't identify themselves, right? People banging on your door, and you have the right to defend your home and to defend yourself. You don't know if it's the police or not. So are they saying that because he had a gun, they shot him? We never identified who you were. You know what I'm saying? That's just horrible in itself. Secondly, what is the solution to all of this? We keep getting killed out here in the streets by law enforcement. Trump's trying to get in office and saying he's going to give complete immunity to police to do whatever they want. This is crazy, man. I think what we should do is start getting insurance, life insurance policies for all Black people, everyone. You know what I'm saying? If you get some policies, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, and you got people out here killing us, these insurance companies going to be like, hold on, wait a minute. We losing money here. You know what I'm saying? I always tell y'all, it comes down to the bread in this country. We losing money here. Y'all out here killing these people with these policies. Now they're not just Black people, they're people with policies. So now we're losing money. So now the insurance company is going to have to figure out how to stop the violence. You know what I'm saying? Because they're losing money. You have to hit these people in their pockets, man. This is just out of control. And it makes me angry. And I don't want to go into the environment with that angriness in me. Because if I get stopped, I'm going to have an issue. And then something might happen to me. You know what I'm saying? So this has to end, man. This is ridiculous.
When is it? It's incredible, man, that they continue to do this.
I don't know, man. I remember we was 16 years old. Me, Les, I forgot, we was with somebody else. And we had some type of BB gun or whatever. And we were on Bailey in Minnesota. And we were just like playing like somebody got robbed or whatever. And we
outside of Via Veneto's, man?
No, like right between the alley, between the locksmith and the the pizza joint, right?
Yeah.
But we was playing, we was kids, you know what I'm saying? And we ran down the street, right? And then these cops happened to come up, roll up at the same time, and hopped out, right? Hopped out, we threw the little toy gun in the car. Cop hopped out, put his gun in my face, literally this close to my face. That's to tell you. And we was like, yo, man, don't shoot, it's a toy. And I'll never forget looking down the barrel of that shit, you know what I mean? Literally. Now, he'll tell you when he popped back on here. So I've got an opportunity to survive something that a lot of Black men haven't. And whenever I think about this and I see things like this, I understand that even though blue is a color and a brotherhood, what I've done as part of, which is therapeutic for me, is when I moved to Atlanta, part of the reason why is because I wouldn't have to deal with the system, right? Cops, white judges, all that type of stuff. And I learned that by living down here in Atlanta. Then there are certain parts of Atlanta that even I can't go to because I don't want to deal with a certain type of mentality. That being said, at some point or another, we are going to have to, we're going to have some type of penalties for officers who kill citizens, you know what I mean? And especially the ones who kill us, because the cop, before I was telling them about that time we was in Minnesota and the cops rolled up on us when we had a toy gun and we threw it in the car and the boy hopped out, pulled it out on us. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that cop showed restraint. He listened. He used his senses. That's not there. And there need to be penalties for cops who just senselessly fire and kill people, and especially when they kill Black people because they already have a preconceived notion that we're armed, that we're dangerous, that we're criminals, that we're up to something. And if I'm standing in my house and you cover up the peephole so I can't see,
come on,
and you're banging on my door and not telling me who you are, and I'm in my house, I'm going to get my gun. I'm going to get my gun, and period. And if I open the door and you shoot me, that's crazy. That makes absolutely no sense. He had a preconceived notion that that a Black man with a gun is out to harm him. He's a criminal. He shouldn't have that, and he should be put down. And that needs to change.
Somebody that served the country at that. You know what I'm saying?
You can't get more perfect than that kid. He was
man.
Man, I can't say you can't get more perfect, but as far as him being a member of the armed services, him living on his own, him being on the phone with his girlfriend at the time. He wasn't in there smoking weed or anything like that. He wasn't doing anything but besides being a young man who just came home from work. And that's incredible.
He was a black man, the scariest thing on earth,
Right.
you know, to a certain set of people.
Yep.
And once again, being accepting in that we can't accept that this happens. My question is this, man. I love Ben Crump, but it just seems that Ben Crump is the only attorney who handles these types of cases. I don't think anything of that at all.
I think, man, he keeps on winning. You know what I mean? If you win, then you get the spoils for the victory. And the spoils for victory are continued exposure and being retained for racist cases. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of other cases that are happening that aren't as national, but with his reputation, he manages to get your case on the national news. He manages to get your case talked about. So and he brings attention to it because of his network. I guess you will say freedom fighters at this point, activists. It benefits him as attorney. It sucks that he has gotten his reputation like this, but I'm glad to have him there as opposed to Simon Berkowitz or somebody like that.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel you on that, and I respect the hell out of Ben Crump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he's on the scene, they mean business and they standing on it. Salute to Benjamin Crump and his law offices and his team that handles these unfortunate situations. Too many times that we've seen him, man. I'm tired of seeing him in these type of situations, man. These people losing their loved ones for senseless violence. As we continue on this episode of The Soup, man, voting, as we've been talking about from the beginning, is very essential. And in the state of Virginia, man, 2020, there was a lot of legislation that was passed where they had to take these Robert E. Lee Elementary, Confederate school, high school, all of these Confederate generals who have schools named after them. They passed legislation that they had to rename those schools. And unfortunately, due to the lack of voting, they changed it back. Let's take a look at this real quick.
Breaking news from overnight, where the Shenandoah County School Board has approved a vote to restore Confederate names for 2 of its schools.
It is the first time in U.S. history a school district that changed the name of schools that honored Confederate generals voted to revert back to the original names. Brendan King is live detailing the vote from both sides and how it reflects on Virginia's long history on this topic. Brendan.
Shenandoah County is located about 33 miles north of Harrisonburg if you take Interstate 81. And this morning we are hearing from someone who opposes this plan outright. The restoration of these Confederate school names, they say they're mostly concerned about the black students who attend these schools.
Why are we here tonight? To go back to a time in history that was very cruel, where hatred and racism continued throughout this county and throughout the United States.
All right, with a 5-1 vote, it was the Shenandoah County School Board voting to restore the names of Mountain View High and Honey Run Elementary to Stonewall Jackson High and Ashby Lee Elementary. Those who voted in favor say the 2020 board took shortcuts and made decisions without public opinion, arguing they ignored the people they represent. A concerned resident argued restoring these names is like going back to 1959, a year they say rooted in mass resistance and Jim Crow segregation. Back here at home in Metro Richmond, we know school districts like Hanover and Richmond changed the names of several of their schools. This all happened back in the social justice movement and the protests of 2020. So you may remember Richmond renamed 4 of their schools. Hanover renamed 2 schools that share the names of Confederate leaders.
Man, what are we talking about here, man? What sense does that make to have General E. Lee Elementary School?
Stonewall Jackson High School.
Give it to me, Don.
Hey, remember the Bills lost the Super Bowl and the fans greeted them at the airport?
Scott Norwood.
Yeah, Scott Norwood, right? Mm-hmm. We love you, Scott.
No, Scott, no good.
No good. My bad.
Scott, no good.
Ray Finkel. if you really want to be specific, Ray Finkel.
Come on.
Anyway, lasers out. Anyway, I never understood that. I really never understood. I never understood why you're going to celebrate a loss. Why are these losers trying to constantly regurgitate a loss? You lost.
You lost, B.
That's not the American way. You lost. And to, like I said earlier, to the victors go what? The spoils. You know what I mean? We changed the government. We abolished your system. Why should you have some type of rosy feeling about something that you lost? I believe that I'm not going to even get into the schematics of it and the institutions and so on and so forth. But it's just, to me, it's always been losers celebrating a loss. And I just don't understand that. I've never understood it in any aspect of my life. Why celebrate something that you lost? Stupid.
It's incredibly insensitive as well. Here it is. You want these kids to go to school when they do find out or they do realize that this person was in favor of slavery and keeping me down. But here it is. You want me to come in here every day and give my best and want me to learn where I got actually somebody with their foot on my neck every day.
You know what, though? During COVID, fam, it was like everyone was in the house. You really couldn't do much. That's when we saw what happened to George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Everybody saw what happened to George Floyd. You can't say you was too busy not to see it. So when people saw it, they started to realize, you know what? Shit ain't right, man. They started taking down Confederate statues, things of that nature. You know what I mean? But now we back to this shit. Man, the Virginia School Board, man, their schools are struggling for cash. You're going to change this shit up and spend over $300,000 on changing the fucking school names, the kids' fucking jerseys, the goddamn basketball court in the middle. You know what I'm saying? This is just counterproductive. How fucking stupid are you? Just for your heritage of losers. It's stupid.
Ass backwards, man. Once again, man, you got to vote, use it, man, to keep the foolishness, to try to prevent the foolishness from happening. You can only do but so much, but you can definitely vote. Now, speaking of voting, man, Congressman from New York City, Mr. Jamal Bowman, put forth a bill for reparations. Let's check this out and let's see what Congressman Bowman's got in store.
I fucks with Bowman too.
Got to.
Representative Jamal Bowman from New York has proposed a $14 trillion reparation bill known as H.R. 414. Now, of course, you guys have heard of H.R. 40, which is a study of reparations, but he is saying, no, let's go ahead and roll out the money. Now, some of the reparation bill entails things for education, free education to one of the 107 HBCUs in America. Also, it deals with restoring the voting rights for incarcerated and previously incarcerated individuals. But more specifically, this is what he is saying. According to the 2020 census, there are approximately 42 million African Americans in the United States, which makes up 12% of the population. When divided evenly, each person could receive $333,000, which could be paid out over decades. He also goes on to say, who says the $14 trillion needs to be paid out in one shot? It might be possible for it to be paid out over 5, 10, or 20 years. You could take that $333,000 and break it up into monthly checks over X amount of time. There are creative ways to do the right thing and do what needs to be done. Now, of course, he was talking about the housing and education and incarcerated individuals being able to vote. Just all a part of that bill. My thing is, yeah, $14 trillion sounds like a great start, although there's been a lot of economists that says it's much higher, right? Because, of course, we know that for the almost 250 years of slavery, that slave masters and everybody from their ancestors and generations to follow, they've made trillions upon trillions of dollars off of the slave labor of our ancestors. And so I want to get back to that of Representative Jamal Bowman. Thank you so much for that bill that actually says, hey,
Now, obviously, everybody is not going to agree on Representative Bowman's numbers, right? Obviously, he's already saying it's too short. But in my opinion, we got to give him, oh, that's what's up, by even putting it on the floor. Your thoughts on Jamal's bill there?
I love it. I love to see that he's actually taking the time to reintroduce another reparations bill. They had one before, keeps on getting stalled out. California was supposed to have some type of Department of State reparations, but I don't know where they are with that. Obviously, like D always says, it comes down to the money. If you want to level the playing field, it has to be done economically. What we choose to do with that after we've gotten it is your personal choice, depending upon what you choose to do as individuals. Now, we can't say that as much as I'm an advocate of cooperative economics and understand the power of it, I know that a lot of people don't think like I do, and I know a lot of people have bigger needs than I have. So there are going to be people who are going to spend the money the way they feel it. Some people are going to spend it frivolously, which can happen. But there are also going to be some people who are dedicated to making sure that we have a strong economic power base and that we're networking and using our money amongst each other. So I think that outweighs the I bought it straight cash type shit. And I'm glad to see that he's taking a brave step. Now, the thing about it is that we have to realize that even though it's a bill, how much traction is it actually going to get? It has to go through subcommittees. Then after a subcommittee, it has to be placed on the floor, into a committee, and then after a committee. Like I say, civics, man. People don't understand the value of sitting down, listening in class or revisiting that as an adult, because it will help you understand a lot quicker about why things are the way they are. But overall, good job with the effort. I like to see him work. I like to see him be the Joker, the Batman to the Joker, Margie Taylor Greene. So I love to see that and constantly being adverse and adversary to her and stopping her ignorance. Yeah, man. Kudos to Jamal Bowman.
What's up with JB, Lord?
I rocks with Bowman because he's straight up with it. He sounds like us. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. We never got the 40 acres in the mule. You know what I'm saying? Lincoln get assassinated. Johnson come in with the Homestead Act, give all the land to 90% of the white people, foreign in, you know what I'm saying? People coming in the country and that are already here. You know what I'm saying? Pay what you owe. You know what I'm saying? You owe us. Now, he put it in a specific amount. It could be more, but it has to start somewhere, right? Give me my money, man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna need that bread, pimp.
Give me my bread. The cotton industry is booming worldwide. That's how the country has their wealth now, not our wealth, their wealth now from that. You know what I'm saying? They built it on our backs. We didn't get anything for it. We was promised the 40 in the mule. We never got that. Man, hit us off with that money, man. That's what he really wanted to say. He just had to say it in the political proper way. But that's what he's saying. What's up? What, you got money for everything else? I mentioned COVID earlier. They spent $1.6 trillion during COVID. Man, you don't say you ain't got it. You got it. They got it. Now give it up.
But just like y'all said, you got to start. You got to put the foundation down, and then once you put the foundation down, and then you build upon it. So again, we salute Jamal Bowman for fighting the good for putting it down, man. So now, as we continue on, man, in the soup, man, we're gonna go to the ratchet side of the soup, man. This week, Thursday, it came. What day was what day did Jokic get the MVP? Was it Wednesday or was it Thursday night?
Wednesday night.
So Wednesday is when it all hit the fan. And when I say it all hit the fan was Jokic got the MVP. Shout out to Joker.
Shmoo.
Would you say Shmoo? Right. And then she's no longer O'Neal. She's Henderson now. She's married to this pastor, Keon Henderson. And we're going to talk about him in a minute too. But Shawnee set the Twitterverse on fire when she just came out of nowhere. She got a memoir. She's writing a memoir about all of her life, as if we need that. But to peddle her books, she took a swipe at Shaq, and she busting down to the white meat and said that she never loved him. So as I'm watching the NBA game, Joker gets his MVP and Shaq in the mood off of rip, talking about he voted for SGA. He felt as though that SGA should have got the MVP. I was robbed several times about the MVP. As I'm watching it, I'm like, Shaq is
on edge, huh?
Yeah, and it's being like selfish when it's about Joker right now. And I'm like, damn, that shit, what Shawnee said really hurt him bad because he acting out. Now, then you fast forward to after the game, you have Shannon, Sharp, and Ocho. And Shannon has some things to say about Shaq and saying that if Shaq had his work ethic, he would have had 6 or so MVPs. He would have had more MVPs. But they didn't stop there. They also commented on what Shawnee said about not having no true feelings for the man. Let's go and listen to Ocho and Shannon real quick before we do what we do.
Shaq's ex-wife, Shawnee, says she's not sure she ever loved him.
No.
Shawnee Henderson questioned her love for him in a memoir. Right. Undefeated, Changing the Rules, and Winning on My Own Terms, she wrote, looking back, I don't know if I ever really loved him. I was really in love with the man. Over the course of their relationship, which began in the late 90s and ultimately ended in 2009, when she filed for separation, the couple struggled with infidelity, which Shaq admitted in his 2011 memoir. Shaq posted a cryptic message on social media the next day. Shaq wrote, I understand. I wouldn't have been in love with me either. Wishing you all the best. All love, Shaq. Caption the post. Trust me, I get it.
Hey, that hurts, man. That hurts. That hurts. I mean, man. Yeah, just to hear something like that. Obviously, Shawnee is a friend of mine. Shaq is a friend of mine. I would have loved to see those two work it out. When I think of power couples, people doing their own thing in their respective crafts and being successful at it. Obviously, things didn't work out. They parted ways. That's tough though. I think many of athletes at times are in situations, or they're with women at times, in the infidelity and the issues and the problems, it overshadows the glitz and glamour. And I think at one point maybe she did love Shaq, but all the other issues that came with being with a person or player of his caliber, I think it overshadowed that. And at some point, the love went away. What you think? Or am I wrong?
Missing the point of what she said. She said there's one that you can love someone but not be in love. There's a difference between the two.
Whoa, wait. Stay right there. Because I got to use this, and I got to use this. And I
think our chat can attest. I don't get why she would say that.
Wait, say it again. Say it. Wait. Come on. Wait, stay with me.
You can love someone.
You don't give me no good shit and try to go away now.
You can love someone, but not be in love. There's the difference between the two.
Stay right there.
She's saying, I loved him, but I don't know if I was ever really in love with him. And so, look, Shawnee can write whatever she wants. Like I said, I've never met Shawnee. I don't know her. I don't trash people. But I just, all things being said, I wish she hadn't said that. I do.
Yeah.
Because you do realize that's the father of your kids. You just told your kids, I'm not so sure I was ever in love with your father. But I wish, look, I wish, like I said, I know Shaq a little bit. I've met him a couple of times. Great guy, funny. What you see, he's the big, funny, big, giant kid.
Big personality.
He's a 7'1", 15-year-old. That's his personality.
Yeah.
He wants everybody to have a great time. He's generous, beyond generous. I just in this situation, like I said, I mean, he's a big boy. He's a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
But I don't care how big you are. I don't care how old you are. You have feelings.
Yeah.
You have feelings.
Yeah. So Shawnee O'Neal, they just said that her and Shaq, they married for 9 years, 5 kids. I think they've been divorced for longer than they've been married, right?
Definitely.
Because she had left that out
Yeah, man, that wasn't necessary. Like me and D just said, it goes back to the Jada Pinkett playbook. You know what I mean? To spur sales, to grab some attention, to be a hot topic or a trending topic. People are gonna say what they want to say to get to where they want to go. You know what I mean? Some people have different moral levels. Some people just really don't care. For her being a pastor's wife, I don't know why she would speak unfavorably about somebody else, especially somebody who put her in the position where she is now and is the father of her children. So I'm just obviously it's important that you do marry and you do a heavy background check on the person that you decide to give that commitment to, man. But I just think it's just for sensationalism, man, and it's just really just interesting. And honestly, it's telling that people are more concerned with attention than anything these days. It's
Crazy.
So it's now you can see why maybe Shaq said what he said, that you can't
Right. Throw it right back in your face. Yeah.
You can't tell a woman anything. But she was spiteful with that, Humpy.
Man, what? I don't get it. My thing is, I heard before any of this, she said that she used to take parts of his money and set it aside for, you know what I'm saying? Like she was skimming. So that would show you that she didn't really love him. You know what I'm saying? Because all you would have to do is ask him, you know, it's your husband. What are you taking money for and putting it aside? You know what I mean? But it was unnecessary. You didn't even have to come out and say that. You know what I'm saying? You got Keon and them. So why even bring Shaq into that? You married now? And then the thing is, what are the kids going to think of you saying that about their father? That's their father. You're going to go in there and say you didn't love. You love the idea of their father. You love that bread is what you love. You know what I'm saying? That's what that was about. But again, man, it's just mad disrespectful, man. What's wrong with these women out there, man?
It's like, really, she painted to her kids, I really am a basketball wife.
Right.
I know I tried to sit up there that I had couth and I was above all of the pettiness that all these other girls were. But for real, that was me.
Yes.
You know, and what I did was I cultivated this culture and put it on TV for entertainment because I was part of it. I'm like, this would be some good ass drama TV. Shaquille, you should invest in blah, blah, blah. It's sad. And again, going back to Shaq, I think that's the whole reason that whole thing went down, because she's splitting to the white meat with that she didn't love him. And I've seen episodes when he professed his love for her and how he messed up. He know it was him and blah,
He
blah.
recently said he wish he could have been with her. He could have stayed with her. Now she hit him with this, and she gives him this.
And she gives him this. She gave him a 2-piece and a biscuit. When she gave him. As we continue with this episode of The Soup, man, it's funny that we got on to this whole Shaq and Shawnee deal, because relationships, it's a part of all of our lives. You know what I mean? You got to have that trust in that relationship, and obviously that trust between Shaq and Shawnee dissolved real quick, man. It's one thing I want to share with y'all before we go ahead and jump off this episode, man. We are men of a certain age, right? And we love the culture. We love hip hop. We started off at the beginning talking about Drake and Kendrick and how it really didn't move us to a certain way because we are really removed from the music that way. A conversation came across my line between two people I respect greatly. I'm going to share this with you, and then we're going to come back. All right.
Bunch of MCs. You know, I have this line where I was born with the mic in my hand, and as far as corporate wise, it's on a whole nother level as far as the money, the business side. But I think lyrically, it's regressed. What do you mean? As far as the lyrical side of it, if you take hip hop from the 80s or this golden era, even in the 90s, and the majority of the MCs that were out there, they were mostly lyrical. Even my first trip I made to the Bronx, one of my first trips to the South Bronx from Staten Island.
Born and raised in the Bronx.
Yeah. It was around 11. And we had 2 MCs in our whole borough of Staten Island. And when I got to the Bronx, whole bunch of MCs. I have this line where I said, I was born with the mic in my hand and I took it from Brooklyn to the SI land. I pulled up on a block, got out the truck. It was the first of pit stops, the era of the spinning top, around the birth of hip hop. That was something I had identified with. So I made it my point to exploit this fly gift. And me and the RZA made trips to the BX, a mass of ferocious MCs, town of T-Rex, giants in every ways, rap flows for every day. We knew we would get a reward with a price to pay. The basic training was beyond entertainment, the cadence, verbal expression, self-explaining. So those are my early days of traveling to the Bronx, but they had this mass of ferocious MCs, and everyone was so lyrically good that it only made us sharpen our sword. Nowadays, it's not like that. I hear stuff you hear.
So they're not as literate.
No,
that's what you're saying.
At all.
Do they still have ideas? They just don't know how to express it? Or
I think many imaginations are sterile at the time.
Why?
Because you're not producing anything new. Like
they don't have a muse.
It's the same thing.
The universe is talking to you and you're responding.
Yes.
They've got nothing talking to them.
They just, no, they don't hear. When your parents say, you're not listening to me, they're speaking, you hear the sound, you feel the vibration, but it's not resonant.
Right, so there's a whole community of rappers who've lost their sources of creativity. That's got to be it.
Yeah, and everyone is following. The majority is following. If it's 100, 99 follow. Only one rap on his own voice.
So yeah, man, I wanted to share that with y'all because we talked about it from the beginning, from our very first show. We talked about the culture and how where the culture is going and how it's going this way instead of that way. And when I saw that, that resonated with me because that's a lot of what's going on right now in the game. There is no originality. Everybody sounds the same. Everybody is trying to look the same. And listening to the Jizza break it down, and that's obviously that's old. That's a couple years old. But at the same time, it's relevant to this day of time. What you think about what the genius had to say, Lord?
And he was on point. The essence is gone. It's the DJ in there, the graffiti art, you know what I'm saying? Not even breakdancing, but breakdancing. You know what I'm saying? MCing, not just rapping over a beat. You know what I'm saying? It's missing. We're missing a lot of it. And like you said, 99 out of 100 are followers. And I think a lot of it is, it's money. You know what I'm saying? You're not rapping from your heart anymore. You're rapping to get paid. The other thing is, the internet is just so ridiculous. You can just put out anything at any time. And it can be diluted to a point where it's just garbage. You know what I mean? We used to have to wait for stuff to come out. Mixtapes, you know what I'm saying? Go to Doris Records, or you know what I'm saying? You have to go get the joints. Or even with this beef, they were coming out with songs 30 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? It's diluted. There's so many people who can put it out in such a quick amount of time that it's a lot of garbage out there that you have to go through to get to the real. It's horrible, man. And you see what I'm wearing right now.
Definitely.
Biggie. You know what I'm saying? We are men of a certain age, man. We look for quality in music. We're not looking to follow anybody or, you know what I'm saying? It's hard because we love it so much that we want it to be a certain way. But because of the times and because of the money, it's difficult, man. It's difficult to swallow. And that's why when I hear MC's Kendrick spit some real bars with some history in it too, man, it lights me up. And peace to the Griselda movement too, because they took it back to the 90s. You know what I'm saying? With the way they spit in the beats and the bringing back of those 90s MCs into their songs. But again, you got to go search that out sometimes.
Before I bring it to you, Don, just listening to the little bar that he gave there, it was vivid. You could see it. Just the things that he was saying about him and RZA going to the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? And the things that was going on between them and there. What you think about what the genius had to say?
I think that it was correct. Before, just anybody couldn't be an MC. You had to really get in the trenches, get your name out there, battle some boys, take your scraps, take your licks, get back out there. You had to constantly get better. You know what I mean? You couldn't just put out music and expect people to like it, because at the time, if you put out something that sounded like somebody, you were doing what? You were
Biting.
It's showed the lack of originality also brings a lack of creativity and a lack of resiliency, which is why you've had so many stars over these quote unquote stars over these past couple of years have one hit, two hits, and then they're gone. You know what I mean? Because they don't have the fortitude or the experience to continue to push forward as a musical artist. They come in, they get their bag, and guess what? They're happy with the bag, and they're gone. It's not for the love, because they haven't put the time and experience into it to love something. So I completely understand and agree with what he was saying.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear him breaking it down with the scientists, kicking the science with the scientists, two scientists up there building, man. Before we go, man, I want to share this freestyle with you. It's not Drake and it's not Kendrick, you know. And it's definitely not a freestyle. It's written, but it was performed as a freestyle. But here, let me get this to you.
Man, it would do me a big honor. I don't know if it could happen now, but man, I never had you bust a verse on my show, bro.
Ooh, hell.
Okay.
Yo, you want me to do that?
Yeah. Take your
Man.
time. Yeah.
God
oh my
damn,
God.
word.
So you could. What the hell?
Yeah, we got a real DJ too.
What beats you got over there? You got some beats? Slow it down a little bit. There was smoke when the mother's water broke. The doc saw the horns, oh my God, it's a goat. The nurse cut the cord, got shot with 1,000,000 volts. Almost dropped him on the floor, but the baby started to float. Umbilical cord turned into a gold rope. Mike appeared in his hand, his body started to jolt. Angels injected him with lyrical dope. Same drugs they gave Hemingway and Edgar Allan Poe. The whole world's raving for the baby, the bell tolls. The crowd gathered around, throwing punches and elbows. Then his mama arose and recited a poem. Taught to hip-hop god, fuck rock and roll. Put his baby in the whip, there was a solar eclipse. Then the spirit came, wrote his name down in hieroglyphs. Breakbeats played, he had a speaker for a crib. She screamed, Jack the Rip, and ignited his gifts. To the parents, to the children of myth. Here's some first-hand experience of Mr. Smith, alias Mr. Killing every rapper in his radius. Ciphers the stadiums, bars is vibranium. Molecular structure of the nucleus of his cranium. Platinum, uranium, lyrical titanium. In other words, whoever it concerned, if you fuck around with fire, you gon' get that ass. Turn to ash. True story, I'm walking crematorium, helping rappers earn obituaries from historians. Banging on them, yellow tape and white sheets laying on them. Carved hand tombstones praying for them. Moving the chess pieces like telekinesis. As a toddler, he walked with 2 panthers on leashes. Learned early on where the mark of the beast is. By the time he hit puberty, slicker than creases. Slicker than Odysseus on an Odyssey. Intellect is part of me, so pardon me if it's harder to follow me. What does that mean? He's a mythological melanated progeny of royalty, spraying you with soliloquies. Gil Heron with the camouflage gear on. Ignorance is a virus, my ink is the interferon. The last poet, revolutionary with guns loaded. Back to elevate the culture, that's my only motive.
You know, that's just for me. That's an MC, man.
Oh, with Odysseus and soliloquy.
Come on, man. He got the thesaurus out. You know what I'm saying? He putting words together.
L went from being born to now
Right.
on that joint right now, man. He nuts on that.
Yeah, man. But shout out to the culture, man, because you know the culture is us, man, and it's up to the youth continue the culture, man. Hopefully, because it's shaky, man. It's really shaky out here, man, with the youth and the things that they gravitating to. So listen, this was the latest and the greatest episode of The Soup. You know, before we get out of here, you got anything else you want to say or anything you want to promote? You got going?
I want to say one thing, man. We all have made mistakes, and it's one thing I like about us is that from our mistakes we have learned and we have grown, and we have become responsible men of a certain age, right? Somebody like me who has been involved with a lot of crazy stuff in my life, thanks to praying parents and thanks to the universe and thanks to wisdom, and it's worked out for me, right? But at this age, there are certain things that I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy for, right? Jail is a young man's game, right? It is. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm in that situation or I'm around people who can put me in that situation. We've grown and we've learned that more important than anything else is time. Time is far more important than money. Time is far more important than likes. Time is far more important than people having some type of admiration towards you. You cannot get time back. Money, clothes, cars, believe me, I've had them all of them. Things that people really just never thought I'd have, but I knew I have. And you know what? Nothing is more valuable than my time. So be careful of what you do with your time. Make sure you're not spending your time doing something that's going to cost you more time. That's all I have to say.
Great.
P Double, you got something for the people? They want to hear what you got to say one time down.
No doubt. This is for the nieces and nephews out there. Listen, man, take good care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because if something happens to you, the world is not going to stop.
It don't stop.
And you're going to fall behind. Listen, man, take good care of yourself. Go see about yourself too, man. You know what I mean? Don't sit around thinking it's just going to go away. Go to the doctor, man. Go check yourself out. You know what I mean? That's for men of a certain age, man. Uncle P, man.
Man, again, for P, for Don, I'm Les. It's the same old soup. We just reheating it. Until next time, man. Peace.
Peace.